Have you ever found a tiny little rock like this in your backyard? But what about one like this? Have you ever come across something like that? Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to find anything quite like it. And that goes for 9 other massive and mysterious rocks that not even scientists can fully explain. By the end of this video, you'll still be amazed by each one we're about to show you. With that said, here are the 10 most mysterious and incredible rocks in the world. 10th Wave Rock, Western Australia. Picture a giant wave. No, not a water wave. I'm talking about a wave made entirely out of solid granite. That's right. Near the town of Hayden in Western Australia, there's an impressive natural formation known as wave rock. It stands over 14 meters tall and stretches 110 meters long, and it looks like it was frozen in time, just as it was about to crash. But how is that even possible? This formation began to take shape millions of years ago, slowly sculpted by the combined forces of rainwater and strong winds. When rainwater mixes with carbon dioxide in the air, it forms a weak acid that gradually corrodes the minerals in the rock, mainly feldspars, turning them into clay and wearing down the surface. But what about the final touch? The stunning colors, reds, yellows, and grays, are the result of the oxidation of minerals like iron and magnesium, creating a surreal natural color palette that enhances the dramatic look of the stone wave. Without a doubt, it's a geological spectacle that looks like something straight out of a fantasy movie. 9. The Stone Columns, Crowley Lake, California. Along the shores of Crowley Lake in California, there's a scene that looks like it was carved by human hands. But these vertical, perfectly symmetrical columns are 100% the work of nature. These incredible formations are the result of extraordinary natural processes, a true fusion of volcanic activity and glacial erosion. It all started around 760,000 years ago, when a violent volcanic eruption blasted tons of hot ash across the region. That ash quickly compacted, forming a thick layer of volcanic tuff, a type of rock created from solidified ash. Over time, water from nearby glaciers began to seep into the layer, causing vertical cracks due to thermal contraction. And the result? A surreal set of perfectly aligned columns, looking like something out of an ancient temple, all crafted by Mother Nature herself. 8. Krishna's Butterball, India. Now get ready for something that completely defies gravity. In the city of Mahabalipuram, in southern India, there's a massive spherical rock known as Krishna's Butterball. It's over 5 meters in diameter, weighs around 250 tons, and it's precariously balanced on a gentle slope, as if it could roll away at any second. But it never does. The name comes from Hindu mythology. According to legend, the god Krishna, known for his mischief and love of butter, dropped this little ball from the heavens during one of his divine pranks. But the geological explanation is just as fascinating. This formation began millions of years ago, when granite formed from the slow crystallization of magma deep underground, giving it an incredibly strong structure. Over the ages, wind, rain, and temperature changes sculpted the rock into this smooth, rounded, and mysteriously stable shape. And to this day, no one has been able to move it. Not with ropes, not with tractors. It's like nature deliberately placed it there, as an eternal joke. Despite its unstable look, this rock has puzzled both geologists and visitors alike. Even after multiple historic attempts to move it, it remains completely still. This phenomenon is partly explained by its perfectly balanced center of gravity, which creates a state of static equilibrium, something that goes against all human logic and expectations. And the most amazing part? It's not even attached to the ground. Yet its base provides enough friction and stability to withstand the region's harshest weather. That's why it's become one of the most popular spots for anyone visiting the area. 7. The Symphony of Stones, Armenia. In the Kota region of Armenia, there's a true natural masterpiece called the Symphony of Stones. It rises like a giant musical organ carved into the rock. Its basalt columns, which resemble the pipes of a massive instrument, line the gorge near the Azat River, creating one of the most spectacular and unique landscapes in the country. The origin of these columns dates back to a time of intense volcanic activity, millions of years ago during the Tertiary period. Back then, tectonic movements in the Caucasus region triggered multiple eruptions. As the lava cooled slowly, it formed basalt. And as the material solidified, it contracted and developed natural fractures that resulted in almost perfectly hexagonal columns, a phenomenon known as columnar jointing. The result? Columns reaching up to 50 meters high, forming a natural stone wall. When viewed from below, these formations look like they were carved by human hands, like a deliberately sculpted work of art. 6. Mushroom rocks. Across various deserts and plains around the world, you can find strange and fascinating formations known as mushroom rocks. They stand out for their unusual shape, resembling giant stone mushrooms. These structures are shaped over thousands or even millions of years by natural geological erosion. In arid regions, where wind is the main sculptor of the landscape, these rocks are worn down unevenly. The lower part erodes more than the upper. The result? A silhouette sculpted by nature itself, like a surrealist sculpture left in the middle of the desert. This happens because sand particles, driven by wind, move more forcefully closer to the ground. This process, known as differential abrasion, wears down the bottom of the rocks more intensely, creating a thinner base, while the top remains wider and more resistant, which makes the curious shape of these formations even more striking. 5. The Three Whales Rock, Thailand. In Bueng Kan Province, in northeastern Thailand, 3 massive stone blocks appear to float above a green sea of vegetation. This stunning natural formation is known as the Three Whales Rock. The name is no coincidence. From certain angles, the group really does resemble 3 giant whales swimming side by side. These colossal sandstone structures are around 75 million years old and date back to a time when the region was covered by a shallow sea. Over the millennia, tectonic movements lifted the rocks, exposing them to the constant forces of wind and rain. Erosion wore away the more fragile layers of sandstone, revealing smooth, curved surfaces that resemble the backs and heads of whales. Natural fractures that formed along the rock helped shape its current form, splitting it into 3 distinct parts, as if they were truly a whale family sculpted by nature. The 3 whales' location atop a hill, surrounded by dense tropical forest, makes the view even more breathtaking. From the top of these rocks, the landscape stretches out into an endless green sea that fades into the horizon, offering one of the most spectacular views in the entire region. 4. Uluru, the Stone Titan of Australia. In the heart of the Northern Territory in Australia stands a true rock colossus, dominating the arid landscape around it. Uluru, a gigantic sandstone monolith. Standing 348 meters tall and nearly 10 kilometers in circumference, Uluru is one of the most iconic rock formations on the planet. Its origin dates back about 550 million years, when the sediments that make it up settled at the bottom of an ancient sea. Over time, these sediments were compressed and solidified, forming a rock structure that was later pushed upward by tectonic forces. Even after millennia of erosion, the toughness of the rock has protected the formation from major wear, resulting in this monumental natural landmark, which now rises imposingly in the middle of a vast and flat desert. 3. The Balancing Rock, USA. In the midst of the Garden of the Gods in Colorado, there's a formation that seems to defy all the laws of physics, the striking Balancing Rock. This natural red sandstone sculpture balances precariously on a base so thin and worn it barely looks capable of holding its weight. Yet against all odds, it has stood firm and unshaken for thousands of years. Its unusual shape is the result of an extremely slow erosion process that wore away the weaker parts of the rock over the ages. Seen from certain angles, the formation even appears to be floating in midair. However, its balance isn't as unstable as it seems. Its center of gravity is perfectly aligned, which ensures its surprising stability. 2. The Golden Rock, Myanmar. In the Mon state of Myanmar, a massive rock appears to defy gravity as it balances on the edge of a cliff, more than 100 meters above sea level. Weighing around 600 tons, this enormous boulder is striking not only because of its seemingly impossible position, but also due to its dazzling golden glow, which makes it look as though it was placed there on purpose, like a gift from the gods, or a trap designed to capture the gaze of anyone who passes by. But despite the name, the golden rock isn't made of solid gold. Its vivid shine comes from a coating of gold leaf, an incredibly thin layer of real gold, created through a meticulous process in which the metal is hammered until it's thinner than a human hair. These gold leaves have been placed as offerings by devotees for many years. Over time, they formed a gleaming layer that reinforces the site's sacred significance. It's estimated that millions of pilgrims have contributed to this tradition, turning the rock into a spiritual symbol of devotion and faith. 1. Devil's Tower, United States. In northeastern Wyoming, a rock formation rises with jaw-dropping verticality, defying the very laws of nature. Known as Devil's Tower, this colossal structure stands over 386 meters tall and dominates the surrounding landscape. It's considered one of the most enigmatic geological wonders in the United States. Its origin dates back around 50 million years, when magma began rising from deep within the Earth's crust, but never reached the surface. This molten material slowly solidified under immense pressure, forming hexagonal columns of phonolite, a rare type of igneous rock. Over time, erosion stripped away the weaker sedimentary layers that once covered the formation, revealing this extraordinary structure of vertical columns. The signature lines that run along Devil's Tower are the result of natural fractures formed as the magma cooled. Some of these columns reach up to 2 meters wide and 200 meters tall, with shapes so precise they seem to have been carved by hand, a detail that has inspired countless legends about their origin. To many Native American tribes, the tower is a sacred site, and several of their stories tell of supernatural beings who created this giant monolith to protect their people from dangers on the land. And that wraps up the 10 most mysterious and incredible rocks in the world. Which one would you take home? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Until next time, because we're curious.